This is Dewar. He is the creative director for Character Toys and oversees a lot to do with the Doctor Who figure line. Recently he went on a podcast and revealed a lot, from upcoming sets to even exclusive reveals.
Oh, actually, that's a bit of a giveaway.
I was just about to say, I don't think we've seen that one yet.
Let's take it from the top. The Review of Death is an absolutely epic podcast. They review many Doctor Who episodes and sometimes get a few guests on. Their most recent, of course, had Dewar, and it's a fascinating watch. So I highly recommend checking out the episode, as well as the entire channel. Here's what we find out. The Fugitive Doctor action figure and more. Ever since her epic entrance, fans have been dying for a new Fugitive Doctor action figure, but it was hard to tell if it would ever happen. Well, now we know that there are no plans at the moment, but Dewar did say never, so there is hope. Alongside the Fugitive Doctor, Al said he would love to see a Sacha Dhawan figure, as well as a Cyber Warrior. But just like the Fugitive Doctor, none of them are on the cards at the moment. A particularly interesting point was made about the Sacha Dhawan Master figure. Many fans, myself included, have said to use the 11th Doctor Time of the Doctor figure as a base. Swap the head and you've got a pretty accurate Master figure. Although Dewar has said if the figure ever is made, he would much rather do it properly, most likely including brand new molds. Which is a bit of a shame. So yeah, it's not looking likely for new Who figures. And of course the reason for this is costing. We don't find out exactly how much it does cost, but we do hear that it is incredibly expensive to make these figures, and even retools are not cheap. I highly recommend watching this podcast episode alone just for hearing about the process of how the action figures are made, as well as how expensive they are, as it's really eye-opening. More B&M sets. On more positive news, there are brand new B&M sets on the way. This year we can expect even more sets, and one of which is supposedly one of Dewar's favourite. It's worth noting that we do hear this year they went for a much more grounded approach, so I wouldn't expect brand new figures, as it's much more likely to be similar to the recent Doctor free packs. The rumours were that the upcoming free pack sets are set to be based on the 9th Doctor and 13th Doctor. So are we looking at some epic new costume variants? It also could easily be a History of the Daleks set, but either way, we will find out soon enough. Big Finish and comic figures. Ever since the Big Finish collaboration, many fans were intrigued to know if we may ever see another one. And with the recent figure set featuring a comic variant, it was hard to say if we would see more. Well, there wasn't much spoken about the future of comic-based figures, but there was for Big Finish. We heard about how it all came around and that they would absolutely be up for doing it again, but they would have to pick the right figures and would have to be realistic about the choices. So figures such as the Dalek Time Controller are very unlikely. History of the Cybermen. The History of the Dalek sets were incredibly popular, and it looks like History of the Cybermen sets could actually happen. It was said that this would not be a way to get brand new Cybermen, such as the Wheel in Space or the 2017 Mondasian Cybermen, and instead be re-releases of the originals. Either way, I'd be totally up for this range and love to see re-releases of iconic Cybermen figures. Exclusive reveals. Finally, we got an insight to some figures that may be coming in the future, starting with the Haemivores. Apparently they've been an idea for a long time, and Al stated that they wouldn't have to be 100% accurate, so something like a head swap would work. Could we be looking at a Curse of Fenric B&M set? I really hope so. On the topic of figures they've been wanting to do for a while, there is apparently an unknown figure Al has been trying to get out for a very long time, as well as a potentially very exciting figure coming out next year. But we also got a look at a brand new classic Dalek figure. Unfortunately, it is blurred, darn it. But my prediction is a Genesis Dalek for an upcoming B&M set. So that's it. I do highly recommend you watch the full podcast, as it's a great listen and there's a lot more on it that I haven't talked about, including the possibility of more TARDIS playsets. But what do you think? Are you excited for the future of character options? And what do you think we could be seeing in the upcoming B&M sets? If you're new, feel free to click the red button down below to join the adventure. I've been Lewis, and you've been brilliant!
made you to know. So are you sitting comfortably? Our tribute to the show is, if we had to choose another, we just wanna know.